stranded, looking like a fool. All those nights alone in our bedroom. You said one thing and did another, didn't you?
If you must break up a relationship, let it be for good and godly reasons. Envy, revenge, treachery, and carnality should not be part of it. It is also important that you are clear about the status of the relationship. If the courtship is over, make sure the other person understands that you are not putting it on hold. Assumptions really are some of the greatest pitfalls in relationships. Thank you for joining me. This is Life Well Lived by Omobola Steven. Don't forget you can catch up missed episodes on various distribution channels like Deezer, Podcast Addict, Google iPod, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Listen Notes. Just search for Life Well Lived by Omobola Steven and there you go. Have an incredible listening experience. On today's show, I'll be discussing about breakups. Yeah, I know they are expected in relationships. However, there are healthy ways to break up if you must. Here are my top 9. I'll be right back.
Haven't seen you in a while. I never thought you'd be so wild. Things are moving way too fast. Why don't we slow down? Yeah, moving just like we used to. Baby, it's time to let loose now.
Number 1 is for you to seek counsel. If there are doubts in your mind concerning the decision to call it quits, seek advice from someone you trust and you respect. Explaining the whole situation in detail will help clear your mind. The objective opinion of someone not emotionally involved in the situation often proves helpful. Number 2 is for you to pray about it. Seek divine guidance. Ask the Lord to make it clear to you if you have taken the right course of action. Request this help or request God's help in carrying out your decision with kindness. Also, pray that the person you're breaking up with will accept it without suffering serious emotional or physical problem. Number 3 is for you to end the relationship as soon as you decide to do so. This is important. Do not go about pretending to care about someone in whom you have lost interest in. Once you've made the decision, stick with it and don't be canned by promises to change, compromise, or do things differently. Next is for you to give a warning if possible. Warning if possible. If your dissatisfaction has reached breaking point, you may drop hints about how you feel before the eventual breakup. An abrupt breakup really can have the same kind of impact as the sudden death of a close relative, and you don't want that. Next is for you to avoid damaging your partner's self-esteem. Your self-esteem is damaged when the person you once loved rejects you. Avoid dragging up negative things about the other person. Instead, emphasize all the good times that you both had together. Talk about what the other person has contributed to your friendship during your time together and spell out your appreciation of his or her impressive qualities. Next is for you to be sincere about your reasons for breaking up. That's important also, sincerity. You have a responsibility to tell the other person why you wish to break up. He or she will probably want to know the reason, even though it may hurt to find out. In the long run, it will prove beneficial. Really, mature persons want to learn from the mistakes, despite the fact that it may hurt deeply. It is better to always know why than to continue wondering what was said or done to cause it. Next is for you to choose the right time and place for the breakup. Don't drop the bombshell on the way to a big event, the night before an exam, or in front of others. Breaking up in private hurts badly enough, but to deliver such a jolt publicly or just before an important event is cruel and inhumane. On the other hand, a woman shouldn't break up with a man behind closed doors if she's afraid of being beaten or raped. Next step is for you to keep confidential whatever problems both of you once had, even after breakup. If you choose to disseminate damaging information, you'll be exposing your poor judgment to have a relationship with him or her in the first place. Oops. Nice one. Let your emotions heal a little before nursing the idea of seeing the other person again. Wow. When you set your eyes on each other, keep your conversation precise and simple. Do not try to sound over-friendly too soon, lest the other person misconstrue it as an attempt to get back together. And you don't want it at all, do you? Not at all.
I told you every single time, don't you worry. You would always call me at the wrong time, so you can know what I was up to. You get that it's just stupid. Hey, just hear me out. It's been a while since we were good, so why we dragging out when we've been doing everything we could? I don't wanna feel so lonely tonight. Every time we spend time, I wanna do this for the last time. I don't need it, no.
You know what? I want to talk about the aftermath of a breakup. That's very important also. There is the tendency that after a breakup for both partners to feel some or all of the following withdrawal symptoms, like guilt, depression, loneliness, anger, inferiority complex, self-pity, and disappointment. Now let's look at guilt. Whether you're the one who initiated the breakup or you're the receiver, you're likely to feel some form of guilt. You may feel that you caused the breakup or that there may have been something you've done to save the relationship. You may also feel guilty for being part of a failed relationship, but you don't need to do that at all. Let's move on. Let's move on to depression. Breaking up engenders depression. Life may seem gloomy and uninteresting to the person, especially if you did not initiate the breakup, and more so if you still want the relationship to continue. This is because emotions are involved. Involved. The same is true for divorce. Wow. Loneliness. That's important. Oops. Loneliness. Wow. Because of shared experiences and moments and the codependency that exists during courtship, a breakup is soon followed by a feeling of despair and loneliness. Your lives have revolved around each other for a while, and this created fun and excitement, and that is why that gap of loneliness is always there. We move on to anger. Anger is usually the forerunner to a breakup, and it lingers on even after the separation. This is also because of emotions that are involved. Watch out for emotions. Each partner feels hurt, cheated, deceived, or maltreated by the other person. In times like these, all shortcomings of the other party becomes clear or even magnified. Wow. Inferiority complex. How about that? Listen up. Sometimes when you did initiate a breakup, you are likely to feel a degree of inferiority complex, engendered by the rejection. The partner who was rejected may begin to feel inadequate and pursue justification for the rejection, but you don't need to do that at all. Self-pity. When your partner leaves you, especially when you still want the relationship to continue, despite the reasons you've given, you're most likely going to look for your own reasons. This is where you start laying the blame on your own inability and shortcomings. Highlighting your own instabilities to justify breakup is nothing but self-pity. Not at all. Disappointment. People really go into a relationship with high expectations. I have done it also, so it's just normal. A breakup can dash these expectations. When this happens, disappointment sets in. You feel broken and shattered because you invested a great deal in the relationship. So, how do you handle relationship, or how do you handle breakup in your relationship? The symptoms that I've outlined are very natural, and you agree with me. They happen because breaking up, just as the name implies, involves the severing of emotional ties, and in the case of a divorce, support systems. A breakup often alters your way of life. However, you should pull yourself together and resume your social life. Resume. Though a breakup is usually hard for both parties, especially when it's not as a result of some wrongdoing by either party, but premised on a discovery that does not encourage either or both to continue. Now, I want to highlight some elder tips to help you recover from a breakup. I'll be right back.
You've told me more than once to show you my intention. My brain gets blocked at times, but now somehow I'll give you my attention. You've got wanna move my feet, wanna drink my wine, wanna move my feet, wanna drink my wine, wanna move my feet, wanna drink my wine, wanna move my feet.
Yeah, let's move on. The tips, here we go. Number one is that you must realize that it's not the end of the world. You have a life ahead of you, and no matter who else doesn't, God loves you and is always on your side. If you trust Him, life will be better than before. That's important. Number two is for you to focus on your career goals. You may need to give more attention to your career prospects and the challenging areas of your endeavors. Number three is for you to reignite some aspect of your life that has kept your life on hold when you're in the relationship. Sometimes, in order to please your partner, you give up things that you usually like to do. I know that. Provided they are value-driven, it will help if you revisit them. Revisit them. Do not pent up emotions. Release them out. Talk with your counselors, friends, and genuine people about it. You will feel better when you unburden your heart to these people. It also lessens your resentment towards the other person or the situation. Next up is that, though the urge to want to try a new relationship will be very high, it is advisable that you do not rush into anyone yet, no matter how charming and similarly caring the other person may appear to be. You need time. Take at least 6 months to reappraise your situation so you don't make the same mistakes anymore. Once bitten, twice shy. So, pray about it. Prayer is important. The only person you cannot do without is God, not any man or woman. So, you need to get that. Get on with your life. No one has the power to put a hold on your life except you allow it, and you don't want that at all. Next is for you to learn from your mistakes. Wow, this is very, very important. Take stock of the events of the past and see if it was partly your fault. Infatuation may have blinded you to character flaws that you should have seen from the outset. So, determine not to make breaking up your hobby. Next up is that it will be wise for you not to attempt to contact such person after breakup, apart from impersonal interaction like work or church. So, limit your interaction to the barest minimum, enough to disallow resentment. This may or badly, I know, but pain brings clarity and clarity brings closure. The pain may linger for a while, but let it linger. This is the way to begin the healing process. Acceding to the urge to see him or I again or be together will not do you any good, and it will prolong the pain, for it short circuits the healing process, so you need to watch out. Sometimes doing the kindest thing may mean a little pain. Another is that in the event of a breakup, as a Christian, as a child of God, you must demonstrate true love towards each other, no matter who initiated the breakup at the first instance. Admittedly, this may be tough, especially if you did not initiate the breakup, but it is possible. It is possible. Listen to the word of American actress Marilyn Monroe. She sighed, "Sometimes good things fall apart so better things can fall together." Beautiful line. And that's a wrap up for my show today. You know what? You can catch up missed episodes on my blog site, youmatter2life.com, or on my Facebook page, Blue Buttons Communications Network. Thank you for hanging around, and I promise you something. Promise me that you will always stay safe at all times. It's all over. Peace. Sign out.
I was knocked down, heard the countdown through the haze, in the face of defeat, yeah. I was ruled out with no bailout, on my own, all alone, left to bleed out. But I rose up from the ground, just like I was spellbound.